What's going on, guys? Andrew here, and today I'm back with another watch list, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some money this week using the chart setups that I like the most heading into the new year. And I'm going to show you guys why I'm bearish on Tesla this week and why we could potentially see a pullback, so make sure you stick around for that part. So the first thing we're going to be going over is the overall market and how I think that the market sentiment is going to be for next week and how we're going to move. So we're looking at ES here, which is just the S&P 500 futures, and as you can see, we had a really nice green candle here, a nice impulse candle off of this 3715 level that's been tested as support many times, and it held really well, so that's nice. Some decent volume here. Hopefully we can open above 37475 on Monday, but if not, I want us to hold this 37375 level because that's going to be the back test of support here. And then if we can hold that level, we're going to make new highs Monday, if not Tuesday, just the rest of the week. So that's going to be a key level. But of course, we just want to hold 3715 to remain bullish. If we don't, I think we're going to fall back down to probably this 3674 area. But I'm still bullish on the week thanks to this impulse candle here and the returning volume after we saw a little volume in December, which is typical. But once I think we get the big firms and funds back into the market, I think we're going to continue this bull run. So I know when you guys read the title, you probably thought, what am I thinking? How can I be bearish on Tesla? This thing is the most bullish stock I've ever seen. It's had an amazing run this entire year. It's been probably the best stock of the year. So many people have made money off it, but I'm going to show you why I'm bearish for this week. I'm not long-term bearish. I really like Tesla and the company, but as you can see, if we look at the chart setup here, we have a nice rising wedge forming here with a decrease in buying volume. As you can see right here, the momentum kept up because we had all this volume right here. But as you can see right now, we just had a decrease in volume as we're still pushing the price, and we had a pretty solid impulse rejection of this top line here. So I do think we need a retest of at least 684, but we can always fall out of this and even fall down to the mid to low 600s if we want to break out of this rising wedge pattern. Now, Tesla's the only stock that can probably hold a rising wedge for a very long time, but even it being Tesla, I still have to be bearish because of the rising wedge pattern and then just the overall decrease in volume, as the volume is just about half of the volume it had on this run up, and I think it's got to return. It's got to at least consolidate to base up for another run like it always does. So I think we're going to see a return to 684 and possibly the mid 600s in the next week. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Tesla is expected to release delivery numbers for quarter 4 within the next week. As you can see, last year they did it on the 3rd of January, so that it's just something to keep in mind. But if you do position size correctly, you should be okay and won't have to worry about the play being invalidated. Now, next we're going to be talking about NIO. NIO, as you guys know, I'm super bullish on this due to the fundamentals, the news surrounding it, and of course this chart setup. But as you can see, we had a super nice end of the week with NIO. On the first trading session, we had a really big bearish candle, but we didn't really have much volume here. And then we ended up rallying for the rest of the week. Now, we did, long wick, reject this first resistance area of 49.9, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we did hold this back test of 48.3. So we're going to have to see where we open on Monday, and we're going to have to see how this holds. But if we can see some possible basing because of how much it's rallied recently, that would be good for another move up. And then our next real test is going to be 52 and then 54.16, and then we can keep making our way up to all-time highs once we get towards NIO Day, which is on January 9th, which I think is going to get some hype because everybody's loving NIO lately and everybody loves these electric vehicle companies. So I think that once we get towards that day, we're going to get some hype and we're going to get near the mid to high 50s again. So the next one we're going to be taking a look at is PENN National Gaming. This is the one that's endorsed by Dave Portnoy. They bought out Barstool Sports, so this one's definitely got a lot of hype around it. And it's looking really good on the chart setup here. As you can see, this trend line that started back in November is holding really well here as it held in the beginning of December. And now it's approaching it once again. As you can see, it had a big sell-off from this 98 level, but the sell volume wasn't really too high compared to the buying volume on the run up there. And it looks like it's starting to try to reject here. As you can see, it rejected this 85.19 level. And my ideal entry is going to be this trend line here. So if you see an impulse candle, which is just a big green candle that comes off, which would be an impulse bullish candle, then that would be your confirmation to get in. and I want to see an entry near this 85 level or near this bottom trend line if you can get to it, and then you can target 94, you can target 98, and you can always hold on and target all-time highs. But yeah, the setup looks really nice as long as it holds that bottom trend line, and this low selling volume right here just makes me think that the selling is getting exhausted and that we might possibly reverse the trend. So the next one we're going to be looking at is MU. As you can see, it had a super nice bull flag here and it's trying to break out. So what I really like about this play is the breakout volume it had right here. As you can see, this candle is about double the size of the other ones. So it had a lot of momentum and it just held this line really well and it just bursted out of it. And now we are in a bull flag breakout. So that can actually put us up towards the mid 80s. As you can see, the flag size starts from about 60 and it goes from 75. So usually with these bull flag breakouts, you see a breakout of the size of the flag. So that'd be about 15 points, which honestly could get us close to 90s, but I'm expecting possibly 80s this week. But it is a bit of a slow mover, so we could see maybe in the next couple weeks probably low to mid 80s. But it looks really good. You can definitely play the breakout. Make sure you buy time on this one though, because MU does move pretty slowly. So the next one on my watch list is going to be UNH, or United Health Group, and it had this descending triangle forming, but luckily it broke out to the upside. As you can see here, it broke this trend line that was holding it down for a while, but it's not ready yet because it is approaching resistance here at 352, but I really like it if we can break out from 352, and then you can target these 368 and 360 levels, and once we get above that, it's going to be all-time high. I just want to make sure we get some volume here before getting through there, and if we can get through 352 with volume, then that would be my confirmation to get in. Another setup I'm going to be keeping on my radar that we've talked about multiple times in my videos is going to be NVDA. As you can see, NVDA is still holding the same setup here, this bottom trend line. It had some false breakouts the past few days, which is why I'm not going to be having it as my main setups, but it's still holding this trend line. So once we see a break above this this top trend line, that's been holding it down for a while, that's when we're going to see the real breakout, and when we're going to test the mid 500s and then possibly upper 500s if we want to return to this upper trend line here. And the final setup we're going to be looking at this week is FedEx. As you can see, they had a huge sell-off this week and they're approaching a super big support level in this 255 area. As you can see, they had huge bounces back in November and in October. So what I want to see here is it bounce off this level with an impulse candle. As you can see, this was a red candle, but as you can see, there is a super long wick here. And I want to see that happen at 255 here again as well to get some confirmation that there are buyers in the area. Hopefully if we can get some nice volume, and that it wants to reject that price level. And then of course you have such a long way up. This is possibly even a bull flag forming after it had this huge run up in the middle of the year. So this 255 level is going to be key, or else the play is going to be invalidated. But if we hold that, then we can target 277 and all the way up to almost 300. So that's going to be it for this watch list, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's going to be an interesting week, of course, because we're going to have volume returning after everybody's taking December off with tax purposes and stuff like that, and just people being on vacation and with their families, of course. So it's going to be interesting. And of course, if you guys like these watch lists, if you like these investing ideas that I'm starting to post, like we just had a SPAC video on GHIV, if you like stuff like that, make sure you subscribe and like. It definitely helps me out. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all the support recently, and I'll see you guys in the next video.